What is an employee, Bryce? When an employee arrives late, they leave early, they don't take ownership, they don't see the value in continued education and growth, they're not committed into personal growth, they're not committed to the profitability of the business, your core values, or your vision of the company. Ultimately, an employee just shows up, does the bare minimum without a focus on the team, and is just buying time until their shift ends. My friends, I'm talking to you this right now. This should not and never be you. You should never be an employee for the business. That is just not acceptable.
Welcome to the Fitness CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to helping fitness entrepreneurs launch and grow successful gyms. Here's your host, Bryce Henson.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Fitness CEO Podcast with your host coming to you live, Bryce Henson, and so pumped up to be delivering this content today. And you got me solo in the studio with a solo episode. So very excited to basically share this content, which really is a training content entitled How to Become a World-Class Intrapreneur. And I'm going to take a step back, give you a little backstory. I shot this training, last year for our franchise partners and more specifically to our coaches as a massive value for all of our coaches being onboarded into the FitBody system. And there's just so much value in basically training your team, which we're going to go through. And we got so much incredible response from this particular training video that I wanted to be able to provide you this video. So if you're a gym owner, if you're going to be a gym owner, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, you need to share this training with your team high level, and even taking a step further, compound on this training. But really this training is going to be very, very valuable for your team on how to shape their minds, on how to become a world-class intrapreneur, which what you need in your location. And at the very least, if you become a FitBody Bootcamp owner, this gives you some insight to the type of trainings that we're able to produce and provide here at headquarters for our franchise partners and their teams, so that way we can grow their income through impact. So that all said, that's the overview. Now to preface, my friends, there is a need. The need to run a fitness business, or a fitness empire for that matter. You have a need to have a team, to recruit and develop a team of world-class entrepreneurs. And I say develop because people are developed and trained, and that's really the secret sauce to get them to the higher level. And that's your duty, obligation, responsibility as the business owner, as the entrepreneur. And humbling myself, taking a step back, I had a bit of an aha moment, and I'm shooting this podcast content in 2023, which I can barely believe. But this story came 10 years ago in March of 2013, after a handful of months of launching my first FitBody Bootcamp location in the city of Yorba Linda, California, which is in Orange County. Once I got off the ground, I had this big aha. And my big aha was years before I got introduced to fitness in 2007, and then really made it an active part of my lifestyle since then. So over the following 5 years, when I had this big aha right before I had this big aha moment, I was, dedicating myself to be the best fitness person, the best fitness coach. And I was really, really passionate from a fitness perspective to be able to coach and really add value to our clientele. But then what happened was, when we launched our business, my wife Tatiana and I, at the end of 2012, we started growing, which is a great problem to have, because initially I was the coach, I was the one-man show, training all the sessions, etc. But then when we started growing, I realized, okay, we need to bring a team of people on. And we started bringing a few different coaches, and I realized, holy smokes, I cannot do this by myself. I need to replicate myself, but I also need to train my team so I can replicate them, and they can replicate the product and the service that I'm offering, so that way they can serve our clients at a high level, just as I was. And that was the big aha, humbling moment. And I guess I should have known this all along, but actually it's one thing knowing in theory. It's another thing realizing, boots on the ground, oh shit, you're growing, you need people, you need to replicate yourself. And that's when, my friends, my leadership journey began, and my intense focus to train others, develop others, so that way we can all, and my business can grow and serve more people. So this is also something that we teach here at FitBody Bootcamp. Fast forward a decade later, the fact is your team is your product. Here in the gym space, in the personal training space, in the service-based business, the better you train the team, the better your client experience is. And the better your client experience is, guess what? The more likely your clients are going to stay, they're going to pay, and they're going to refer. And that is the name of the game if you want to grow an incredible fitness business and empire. And of course, you should be if you're watching the show. To put a last little analogy, which I heard, I read a book a while ago, and it was this analogy of like the value of training your team, and also too, sometimes the hesitancy that we have as entrepreneurs, managing the finances, realizing that's a big investment to train your team. So the analogy goes, the CFO was talking to CEO, and the CFO, the chief financial officer, was looking at the spreadsheets and really calculating all the time and financial investment that it was going to take to actually train the new teammates onboarding into the location. And the CFO kind of turns to the CEO and is like looking at these numbers, realizing the big investment cost it's going to take. And he turns to the CEO and he says, well, holy smokes, okay, what if we pour all this training into them, okay, the new teammates, and then they leave? And the CEO stops for a second. He kind of turns himself, thinks for a second. He says, well, I understand that, but what's even worse, what if we don't train them and they stay? And I think that's a really, really good analogy of the fact of, pouring into human capital, the need to be able to train your team. The worst thing you possibly could do is not pour into your team, not train them, not show them the love and support, so that way they're enabled to add value, service your clients, grow your business, and they stay. That's going to be a really, really challenging situation. Now, on the opposite side, which is what the CFO, the chief financial officer, was concerned on in this particular parable, was that if you spend time, energy, resources, financial resources to train your team and they leave, in the reality of the situation, that's just part of business. That's going to happen. You are going to devote, your resources and time, energy, focus into people, and they might leave. But in the grand scheme of things, it's going to benefit you drastically more if you have a cadence of training and culture of pouring into your people, because long term, your team is going to stay. You're going to be in a situation where then your clients are going to stay, pay, and refer. So that's really the name of the game here, and really what I wanted to kind of be able to provide you a little context on the value and really the value on being able to train your team, because your team in our business is your product. So this all said, I'm introducing you today the training that we provided our franchise partners last year, which is now in our onboarding sequence, which we call the New Coaches Onboarding Playbook, in our FitBody Academy, which is a learning management system. So that way we can standardize the approach and pour into all of our coaches. And of course, here at headquarters, do the heavy lifting for our franchise partners, which is really a huge value to them. So this is one of many trainings in this onboarding series. So I'm giving you a sneak peek, but I'm also saying that there's a lot more to this. So, one training is good, but that's certainly not enough. We also shot this training with much more targeted messaging specific to FitBody, our brand, our franchising, but for the sake of time and also to relevance to you, edit out some proprietary information. So I want to be able to provide you visibility there. And again, this is one of many trainings that you need to be executing, team facing for your team. If you're a business owner that cares about your clientele, or at the very least, you need to align yourself with a franchise partner such as FitBody Bootcamp, who can develop and actually create these trainings for you and for your team. So either way you look at it, you got to train your people, and that is the call to action for today. So now as I transition to the actual training on how to become a world-class entrepreneur, I'm going to go through some agenda items, which there's 4 items at play. Number 1, I'm going to go through high level what it takes to become a world-class entrepreneur. And then number 2, I'm going to define the difference between an entrepreneur and then an intrapreneur. Number 3, I'm going to define the difference between an employee and a teammate. And yes, they're different. And then lastly, I'm going to provide you the action steps to grow your location's memberships and profits, grow your fulfillment, and then grow your income, which is the name of the game. So my friends, my new coach, if you will, what is an entrepreneur? What is an entrepreneur? We're going to start there. What is an entrepreneur first? So an entrepreneur is someone who takes all the risks. They invest all the money to get the operation, the business off the ground. In the FitBody Bootcamp world, upwards of $250,000. Someone who personally guarantees all the agreements, who deals with the city, deals with the permitting, takes the risk with advertising, with marketing, with lease obligations, and the list goes on. Ultimately, this person takes all the responsibility for the entire operation. They typically plan for years, and they've committed upwards of a decade. And AKA, this is your owner. This is who the entrepreneur is, your owner. All right? So yes, you need to be able to be driving revenue as an entrepreneur, tens of thousands of dollars of revenue at that. This is the function of an entrepreneur, but also an intrapreneur as well. But you also have to understand why this is so important is your entrepreneur is spending money, investing money, I should say, on rent, with the city, with permitting, with payroll, with marketing, with utilities, with insurance, with taxes, and the list goes on. There is a lot of things that your entrepreneur is taking the risk on. But the good news for your entrepreneur is if and when successful, your entrepreneur will enjoy most of the time freedom and the profits. This is just the name of the game and the risk of the reward, if you will. Now, the good news is Fit Body Bootcamp ownership could be yours one day too, which has massive, massive value. But of course, just like anything, it comes at a significant cost and risk. So it's important to showcase that perspective, which is the essence of today's training for you. Taking a step back, giving you a little bit of a look at my business journey. At the time of this taping, with my one Fit Body Bootcamp location in Mission Viejo, California. We opened the doors, my wife and I, Tatiana, in January of 2014. This is our second location. We planned it for the couple years prior, since 2012, and we invested our life savings and also the profits from our previous business well north of six figures to get this operation off the ground, just like with many brick and mortar businesses. Now, since investing, or I should say since opening, we've invested millions of dollars in the location over the last decade. We barely got a permit to get the business off the ground. We almost got shut down by the city, not once, but twice. And we've put a lot of blood, sweat, tears, learning lessons throughout the last 10 years, which is the same for you and your owner. Okay. So that is in essence what an entrepreneur is. Moving on, you might be asking the question, well, what's an employee then, Bryce? Well, here we go. An employee, and no, I'm not talking about an intrapreneur yet, which is the title of this training on how to become a world-class intrapreneur. We're almost there, but we're not there yet. So an employee, what is an employee, Bryce? When an employee arrives late, they leave early, they don't take ownership, they don't see the value in continued education and growth, they're not committed into personal growth, they're not committed to the profitability of the business, your core values, or your vision of the company, all right? Ultimately, an employee just shows up, does the bare minimum without a focus on the team, and is just buying time until their shift ends. My friends, I'm talking to you this right now. This should not and never be you. You should never be an employee for the business. That is just not acceptable. What's up, my friend? Bryce here. Now, you might know me as the co-host of this podcast and the CEO of FitBody. But what many people don't know is that I actually began my journey as a FitBody franchise owner. Now, being an owner, I wake up every day absolutely doing what I love. I live my passion. I help people transform their lives and have both financial and personal freedom. It's for these reasons and many more that other owners join the brand and open their own FitBody locations too. So if you're looking to build a highly profitable business, take charge of your life, and create an impact in your very own community, then opening a FitBody gym might be a perfect fit for you. Now, to see if a territory is available in your area, as we have very limited spots due to our incredible growth, go ahead and visit our website at fbbcfranchise.com to complete an application. Well, thanks, and back to the show. That all in mind, now we've defined what an employee is. Now I want to transition to what a teammate is, okay? And now we're kind of getting closer to really what an entrepreneur is. So a teammate, okay, taking a stepladder approach and defining things, which is really important. A teammate not only brings fire on the mats, but builds strong client and team relationships. They know and they use their clients' Fords, which is the acronym after the car company Ford, Family, Occupation, Recreation, Dreams, which is an incredible framework on how to build relationships with your clientele. And we have this training in a different module, so topic for another day. But also a teammate exceeds expectations. They're bought into the vision. They show up early. They stay late. They give more than what's required. They put their team first. And they also play to win with a team approach as the desired outcome. And my friends, please note, tenure does not matter. So whether you've been in the business for 10 years or 10 days, at the end of the day, your performance matters. And that's really important. It's also a great opportunity for you, being a new teammate, onboarding to Fit Body Bootcamp, your location at Fit Body Bootcamp. Just because you've been here for 10 days doesn't mean there's not a lot of opportunity in front of you if you take the action appropriate. Taking this action that we've discussed just in the last few minutes here will promote you through the Fit Body ranks. It'll also make you successful, way more successful in your life, far past your Fit Body Bootcamp career. So that's really, really important, really to define a teammate, okay? So that all said, now I'm kind of leading us to the very end here to really defining what an intrapreneur is, which is the essence of this particular training video. So an intrapreneur, wait for it, is a teammate with an entrepreneur's mindset. That's really what an intrapreneur is a teammate we just talked about with that entrepreneur's mindset. We combine the two. This is what an intrapreneur is, and this is what we're after. So, meaning an intrapreneur takes massive action and a very active approach on growing the business's profitability, okay, not just training time for dollars. Now, I want to take a step back here, and I'm going to rant for a second and really kind of showcase the value of profitability. And for whatever reason, throughout our culture recently, I feel like profitability has a bad connotation. My friends, this could not be further from the truth. Our country is the wealthiest country in the history of the world, which we're very grateful for. We have a lot of problems just like any other country does, but we are founded on free market capitalism, and profitability is the name of the game. Profitability, all it is efficiency. What it means is you're producing more to your clients than you consume, and that's an efficient business. If you're actually taking more from your clients than you produce, that's inefficient. Therefore, you're not profitable, and you should be out of business. So profitability is a very good thing. It's actually the oxygen to your business. Without profit, okay, you have no business. Just like without oxygen, you can't breathe. Without profit, you can't grow and you can't operate your business, okay? And that's going to serve no one. So your job as the entrepreneur is to increase your profitability. It's also to focus on your client experience intensely. In fact, taking a step back, speaking of profitability, you should never be an expense or a cost to your owner. You should be an investment that retains and produces more clients and more profitability. Otherwise, and I say this with absolute love, you should be terminated, and rightfully so. If you're watching this training, I know you have passion, you have ambition, and you want to be an awesome entrepreneur that adds value and profitability to the business, which is a good thing. Additionally, speaking of profitability and finances, I'm going to shed some light on a very common but incorrect belief. And the common but incorrect belief is, my friend, your employer or your entrepreneur does not pay you. They only manage the money. Your clients pay you. And that's really, really important for you to understand, because if you have more clients, then guess what? Your employer, your entrepreneur can pay you more. The opposite is also true. So speaking of money and finances, you might be asking yourself, then how does the business make more money, Bryce? And in this particular space, in the Fit Body Bootcamp, in the gym training space, in the personal growth and group personal training space, relationships is the secret sauce. If you make yourself so valuable to your owner by developing strong relationships, again, relationships are the currency of business in this particular business model. Your clients are going to stay, pay, refer, which means more money is coming in, which then means more money for the business and also more money for you. So if your business is going to survive, everyone, including yourself, needs to be an intrapreneur. So this all said, we're going to recap with their desired outcome. The desired outcome for you as you onboard into our franchise system, in your location, training your clients, adding value to the business. You as an entrepreneur have to have the end goal in your mind. You have to have profitability, relationships, deep connectivity, the mission, the vision, the values of the organization need to be front and center. And this is going to be, put you in a situation to make you a more well-equipped entrepreneur. So your goal is membership, profitability, relationships, goals, retention, merchandise, all these things that are bringing profit in your business. Your job as the entrepreneur is to service those, to expand on those, and to really bring more opportunity to your location. So this all said, to kind of conclude today's training, foundational training, and I know we have a lot of other modules, in the New Coaches Onboarding Playbook that's going to give you a lot of good content to really better yourself as a coach. But for the sake of this particular foundational training on how to be a world-class entrepreneur, I'm going to recap with some action steps at the end. So to recap, an entrepreneur defining, the entrepreneur is the person in your organization, aka your owner, who takes on the big, massive risk and responsibility for the operation. The intrapreneur is not an employee, rather a teammate with an entrepreneur's mindset. And the good news is that you as an intrapreneur take on way less risk, but your job is to grow the business, make sure to deliver the results so your clients, they stay, they pay, and they refer. All right, so this all said, we are going to finish out today's particular training with 10 action steps, which really are compounding from the conversation or some of the content that we've already previously discussed, but I really want to deliver it in very laser-like fashion so you have the action steps you need to take action and then grow yourself, grow your team, grow your profitability, and grow your life. So the 10 action steps in order. Action step number 1, commit yourself first and foremost to becoming a world-class entrepreneur. Just just like your client has to make the commitment to be in shape, you need to commit to become a world-class entrepreneur. You are never an employee, and you're always going to ask yourself, how can I make this business and the client experience better? That is action step number 1. Action step number 2, execute your new coach's onboarding training, this is part of the module here, and be eager for future trainings, okay? Please have strong attention to detail, be groomed, use deodorant, be presentable, be uniformed, no bedhead, look and act the part. You are professional, you are a world-class entrepreneur, so you need to look and act the part of a professional. Number 3, invest in your team and your client relationships and know your clients' forwards, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. We have a whole nother training module based off this, but this is so important to be able to connect with your clientele and then build those relationships. Number 4, always be proactive on ways to help improve the client experience, because the happier your clients are, the longer they're going to stay with your organization, okay? Number 5, come to your owner with ideas to grow profit and the willingness to execute on these ideas. Otherwise, you're just creating more work for your entrepreneur. And this is really common in business, especially young teammates, young, fresh blood when, new coaches join a brand. They have all these ideas, but then once they pass the ideas, really that creates more work for your owner. Not only are you going to want to be able to provide the ideas, you're going to be able to champion the idea and take action. Number 6, don't just present problems. Yes, it's important to identify problems, but always present at least 2 to 3 solutions to the problems to your team and to your entrepreneur. Number 7, always be an asset, never be a liability. Your job is to be an entrepreneur, not an employee, as we talked about. So meaning your job is to be to offer way more value than your compensation. All right. Number 8, always ask for feedback. You need to have a strong feedback culture. We're going to give you feedback here at Fit Body Bootcamp. We're going to ask for your feedback as well. Number 9, everyone is on the sales and marketing team because profit is fuel to the business. It's oxygen to your business, so we need to be profitable. Therefore, you are also on the sales and marketing team, even though that may be not your official title. And lastly, number 10, to finish off our training today, develop deep relationships, grow your membership so your clients, again, they stay, they pay, they refer. Because when you do, you'll be rewarded. And that's really the conclusion of today's training. I hope you got a ton of value. Please take action, and we're excited to see you in the next module. So my friends, that concludes today's training on the training that we created here at Fit Body Bootcamp headquarters for our franchise partners, but more specifically for their coaches, because again, your team is your product here in the fitness business space, and that's really, really important. So number 1, the call to action for you is dedicate and develop your team. Pour into not only this training, share this training. If you're a business owner, if you have a team, or if you know someone who has a team, this training is really important. I would love just to be able to do you a solid and pass this training off, so that way we can train more people to have that entrepreneur mindset, which is really important. But then secondarily, if you're going to become a gym owner, if you're going to become a Fit Body Bootcamp owner, you need to be able to continue training your team. And the value of a franchise system like Fit Body is this is one of training of many that we've basically done for you, so that way you're putting yourself and your team in a position to win, to grow, and to prosper, because again, your team is your product. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you do, again, why don't you please share this, and as always, write us an awesome review on iTunes, and share and like and subscribe this video. That's all for today. We'll see you, my friends, in the next episode.